Peace, peace. Ali, coming back at you with another video. And in this video, I want to share with you the 4 stages of self-God-realization. So welcome back to the channel. My name is Ali. I teach self-God-realization and self-mastery. And today I want to share with you the various stages of self-God-realization. Now, this is based on my own experience and also bearing witness to other individuals, but I've identified 4 main stages of self-God-realization. Now, self-God-realization can be defined as enlightenment. It's an inner knowing. It's an inner knowing of yourself, the universe, and everything in existence. Doesn't mean that you know everything and have the secret key to all that is, but it's you having a general comprehension, a very astute comprehension of yourself, self-awareness, the universe, and how things operate. It also can be defined as one who has no separation between himself and that which created you. So simply put, is you knowing that you're a God in human form, where you see no separation between the creator and yourself. Now, the stages pretty much run in succession. Stage 1 through stage 4 is usually a progression. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone is going to go through the various stages, but from what I bear witness in my own experience, it usually goes in succession. So keep that in mind as I lay out the various stages. Now, the first stage of self-God-realization is a spiritual awakening. This is when you just awaken spiritually. I made a video talking about the common signs of spiritual awakening. You may want to check that out. But when you have your spiritual awakening, it doesn't matter if it comes from an experience, information, a teacher. It really doesn't matter. But it's when you know that there is more to this 3D reality that meets the eye. Is when you perceive reality beyond the 5 physical senses. Is when you understand that there's a higher form, or you have a higher self, or that there are spiritual beings, or that the world is operating more on the spiritual level as opposed to a physical level. Is when you're aware that you've been lied to about how physicality and the ego is so important. So a spiritual awakening is just as it sounds. It's you awakening spiritually. That's usually the first stage of self-God-realization. Now that you have awakened spiritually, what most humans do at this point is they start to study and research various spirituality, various esoteric teachings, metaphysics, and the occult. So the second stage is actually studying or gathering information. This is when you start to read more books, attend lectures, watch YouTube videos, look up documentaries that pertain to spirituality and metaphysics. It's just you gathering information. You're a student, you're a neophyte, and you're taking a role as an active participant in gathering and researching various information. So the second stage of self-God-realization is just you educating yourself on spirituality and metaphysics. Now, for a lot of people, they spend a lot of years studying, meaning that they don't move beyond the information. And when you move beyond the information, that's when you start to apply it and practice that which you research. And that leads us to the third stage of self-God-realization, which is practice. So the third stage of self-God-realization is actually you practicing whatever you are researching in the second stage. This is when most people start to meditate, do altar work, various forms of magic, working with crystals, different healing modalities, starting to do yoga, tai chi, qigong, just you applying the information in the form of a practice. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to do everything I listed, and obviously there are many spiritual practices, but you know you're in the third stage when you move beyond just research, when you moved beyond just looking up videos, you're actually starting to apply the knowledge. So the third stage of self-God-realization is you applying to knowledge in the form of a spiritual practice or metaphysical practice. So the fourth and final stage of self-God realization is you actually becoming self-God realized. Now, there are various levels of self-God realization, meaning that you can just scratch the surface or you can be full-blown enlightened or self-God realized, where you transform your body into light. Look up something called the light body. It's where a master will transmute his physical form into light, meaning that the physical body will leave and he just turns into a rainbow. It's also called a rainbow body, or a form of light. In fact, there's been many documented reports of masters when they transform their body into light, or the rainbow body, where they leave behind nails in their clothes and they're literally just gone. So I'm sharing that to say that there's different levels of self-God realization. So when you become self-God realized, it goes beyond just you telling people I'm a God or God body or I'm a divine being. It's when you know for sure that you are who you say you are and who you think you are, when you view yourself as way more than human. And it's not something that you're saying from an ego level, because I believe that every human has the capability of becoming self-God realized, as becoming enlightened. It also doesn't mean that you go around professing and telling people I'm a God in a human form, I'm enlightened, I'm self-God realized. Usually other people would tell you. In my humble opinion, it's best to let other people say that for you than for you to say it yourself. I view the same with using the word master. You would never hear me come on video or anywhere and be like, I'm a master and you should follow me. That's for other people to decide. But you, on the fourth stage of self-God realization, is you having an inner knowing that you're a God in a human form. It's going to come in many ways, shapes, and forms. Every self-God realized person is not going to look the same. They're not going to act the same. But as other people are going to recognize this, you're going to understand this based on your travels. And it's an inner power, it's an energy that you have where you feel like you can accomplish anything when you're living your purpose. Many people who become self-God realized, they either start teaching, they start writing books, they start opening ashrams or some sort of mosque or temple or some sort of center where they can help heal other people. So it's many different outlets once you reach this stage. But the fourth and final stage, once again, having many varying degrees, is you becoming self-God realized. This is an inner knowing that you are who you say you are who you think you are, and you act accordingly. So this has been Ali. If you want exclusive content, the ability to work with me, and also to join a community of like-minded souls, I highly suggest that you go to spiritualaccelerator.com, read all the information, and if it resonates, you can join today. So until next time, this has been Ali. Peace.